All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 10X Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday for more years than I know, for sure over 15 years, I've been interviewing amazing leaders. I try to make sure this Tuesday interview is primarily someone that's in the game, like playing the game right now. Today, we have a producing leader, someone that still does some production, but he's an executive, a regional leader with Neo Home Loans. What's up, Josh Mettle?
Hey, what's going on, Dave? Yeah, my primary function is I run a team. So, we've had a team that we've been growing for the last 14 years, and our team combined production this month will serve. We're on track to serve about 78 families for the year. Hopefully, we're going to hit our goal of 750 families served. So, definitely still in the production game, on the field. Also do off the field stuff, but running that team, coaching those folks every day and solving problems just like the rest of y'all.
Yeah, and then to add to that, Josh Mettle is a very successful real estate investor. In a number of the interviews I've done with him, one of the things he's proud about is not only what he's built from a real estate investment portfolio, but the people that have worked for him and how they have really built generational wealth and are buying and investing in real estate. So that's, to me, something super special and unique about Josh. There is a Josh Mettle playlist. So in our YouTube channel, if you want to learn more about Josh, there's some more content in there. And then he's now, I don't know what your actual title is, but with the Loan Atlas, which is one of the industry's premier, I don't know if I call it coaching, but what I would call it transformational platforms, where there's tremendous training opportunities within the platform. There is group coaching. What is your role with the Loan Atlas now?
I'm the co-head of faculty, along with Craig Strent. Just in summary, the Loan Atlas essentially exists to guide originators from wherever they are today to the success they desire to be having in the shortest amount of time possible with the least amount of resistance, stress, and struggle. The way we do that is we have 19 of the most giving faculty members that the industry's ever assembled, people like Ryan Grant, Tim Brahim, Craig Strent, Tyler Osby, the list goes on. And combined, that group has personal production of over 29 billion in personal production. So we like to say, there isn't a problem or opportunity that this faculty hasn't faced and overcome. And if you need guidance, you want to get to your success that you desire faster, we'd love to help you.
All right. So we'll close out with more on that. But really the way I wanted to frame this and the point of all this is Josh has his finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry, not only as a player in the field, but as someone that is coaching, mentoring, and touching a lot of super successful both mortgage and real estate professionals. So I want to, this call is all about rates are coming down. I think that's obvious. That's a fact. I think they're coming down even more. Every economist on planet Earth feels that way. And so what are we going to do? I mean, I've been in this game for 38 years. Early in my career, I was a player on the field. I've sat in a lot of seats on the bus, but I've always found that the leaders that run the OODA loop the fastest win. And reminder for anyone who's not familiar with the OODA loop, I'm not going to give the backstory on it. We'll put a link to Wikipedia. But if you want to win as a leader, if you want to win as a player, whoever does the OODA loop fastest wins. Observes, orient, decides, and acts, and then iterates that. And when you look at the weather we have in the industry, it's OODA loop time. Like how fast when the NAR settlement hits, like we all have these, I've observed, I've oriented, I've decided, like, hey, open houses are going to be a big deal. That's a decision. Let's go. Being able to, at the point of sale, show buyer agent commissions options. Made a decision. Let's go. OODA loop that. But once this thing rolls out, there's going to be more observations. There's going to need to be more decisions. And there's going to need to be more fine tuning. And so Friday rates, some economic data came out, and now we have a new data point. Rates are coming down even faster. Let's OODA loop. So today's call is going to be all about helping you as a community. Anybody watches this video, observe, orient, decide, and act. And so Josh, we got another 54 minutes. I want to make sure the theme is rates are coming down. What should leaders be doing? Obviously, preparation for refis, executing on refis, and then I want to make sure we have time for NAR settlement. But anything else you want to frame the call with before we just get after strategies and ideas?
Yeah, here's where I'd like to take it. First, I want to kind of set the stage for how I'm educating consumers and referral partners on what is ahead in the real estate market as it relates to the economy and rates. And I want to share that with you in case you're not maybe seeing the full picture. And I'm going to share this presentation deck with you. That's just a few slides so that you can go out and you can create one-on-one meetings with your clients and referral partners. You can do social media posts about this content, but now is the time to be talking about the change that's going on in the mortgage industry. And I'm a data guy. Like I don't like people telling me, hey, this thing's going to happen, or I believe this, or I think, or the Fed's probably going to do, without giving me some data so that I can come to my own conclusion that, yeah, I agree with you. That makes sense. So I'm going to share with you some of that data that we're sharing with our clients and referral partners as to where the market is going. Then I'm reading a book, and I know that Dave, you've read, I think, the other version. There's $100 million offers and then $100 million leads. So I'm going to share with you a chapter or a learning experience out of Alex Hermosi's $100 million leads, because some of you might be thinking, great, now I have all this information, but who do I give the information to? So I'm going to go through a little bit of a brainstorming exercise with you where you can start thinking, who is it that I need to take this information to? And then I'm going to share with you what we call our strike rate or strike payment tracker and a TCA that goes along with that to show you how we are motivating and mobilizing people to move forward on potential refinances or potential move up purchases, and getting their agreement when the payment or rate hits X. You have my agreement to move forward, and you want to make sure you do that before the rate hits, because by the time the rate hits, the telemarketers and the servicers are going to have contacted your client. So we got to get ahead of that. So that's kind of the arc of what I want to share today.
Well, let's get after it. I like that arc. And by the way, guys, do we all like that arc? I'd love to see a lot of reactions. We're going to have over 100 people watching this. Let's give Josh a little standing ovation virtually, and then let's get after it, bro.
And as always, this is interactive, right? I'm here for you. Dave is here for you. So if there's something else you want to learn, or there's other questions you have, throw it in chat and we'll do our best to oblige. All right, so let's just do a quick state of the market. All right, I did a video post on this the other day. As of August 2nd, I'm going to try that again in English. As of August 2nd, the SOM rule was triggered. What's the SOM rule? It's an early recession indicator, and 100% of the time, going back to 1950, when the SOM rule was triggered, either we were already in a recession or we entered an economic recession within the last 6 months. And I'm going to tell you why that's important, but it's important for us to start having these conversations with folks when we tell them, hey, I would do a 2-1 or 3-2-1 buy down, or hey, let's set your strike rate now. Well, why are we doing it now? Well, because we've triggered the SOM rule, and 100% of the time, going back to 1950, that means that we're going to enter an economic recession. And then let me show you what happens to mortgage rates when we enter that economic recession. So my job as your mortgage advisor is to get you prepared to take action before the opportunity exists or presents itself, right? They say luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. Well, we're going to get prepared now, and we're going to get lucky when that opportunity comes because we're prepared. So the SOM rule says that we're entering or are already in a recession. And the SOM rule, simply explained, is when the unemployment rate based on a 3-month moving average rises 0.5% from the cyclical low, you're in a recession. Or you're going to enter one time since 1950, it took 6 months to enter that recession. So if you go back to the cycle low, we were as low as 3.4% on the unemployment rate. We're now at 4.3%. But if you look at the 3-month average, the previous 3-month average now is up 0.6%, which means you are in a recession. All right, another indicator that we're in recession. These are just things, good things to talk about. So people know you're educated and they know that if you're telling them you think rates are going to go down, well, why do you think rates are going to go down? Because you're going to get paid? No, I think rates are going to go down because I'm a student of the game. I study economics. I know history, and I know that we need to get prepared now for the opportunity that's coming. So this is just the inverted yield curve, right? It's a simple 10-year yield minus the 2-year yield. And in most instances, the longer a period the loan or the you borrow money, the higher rate. In other words, if I do a 30-year mortgage, I could expect a higher rate than a 15-year mortgage. Well, the inverted yield curve is when that's backwards, where the 2-year, and let's look at this as if we're investors in treasury bonds. So I'm going to loan money to the US government. I'm going to buy a treasury bond. And in most instances, that 10-year treasury bond is going to pay me more than the 2-year treasury bond as an investor, because I've lost that opportunity cost. I've given that money to the US government for 10 years versus 2 years, so I want a higher rate of return. Well, when those things are reversed, when the 2-year yield is paying investors more than the 10-year yield, you have what's called an inverted yield curve. And that is a very reliable recession indicator. You can see when you have an inverted yield curve, it's followed by a gray bar, which means recession. When you have an inverted yield curve, it's followed by a gray bar, on and on. Inverted recession, inverted recession, inverted recession, inverted right before COVID, believe it or not, recession. And here we are inverted for the longest period ever without triggering an economic recession. Just another indicator that says we're headed towards a recession. And then let's not forget about the Fed funds rate. This is the Fed funds rate going back to 1955. And you can see very predictably when the Fed tightens monetary policy, when they increase the Fed funds rate, recession, 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 and recession. So there's a lot of indicators that I watch, but if you look at these 3 indicators, the Sohm rule, the inverted yield curve, and the fact that the Fed has been very aggressive in increasing the Fed funds rate, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And based on last week's employment numbers, we're very likely already in a recession. And why is that important? Why, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, would I be reaching out to you before mortgage rates plummet? Well, if we go back and we look at what happens to mortgage rates in recessions, in 1980, they went from 16% to 11.75. In the 1982 recession, they went from 18% to 13%. In the 1991 recession, they went from 11% to 8.75%. You get the point. Mortgage rates drop precipitously during economic recessions because people panic, they sell out of their stocks and their riskier investments. They invest in what they consider a zero risk trade, which is your treasury bonds. And that demand for treasury bonds drives down the yield or the rate of return, and that drags down mortgage rates. It happens 100% of the time. Recession equals lower mortgage rates. So we want to get prepared now before we see this precipitous drop. By the way, Mrs. Homebuyer, what happens when mortgage rates go down? Housing becomes more affordable. And according to Black Knight, for every 1% that mortgage rates go down, 5 million more Americans are qualified to buy a home. Now, that doesn't mean that 5 million more Americans are going to buy a home. It just means that as housing becomes more affordable, as rates go down, 5 million more Americans could enter the housing market. So there's a little bit of a risk reward playoff here. We can wait until rates go down, but just for example, in 1991, you dropped rates from 11% to 8.75. That's only 2.25% reduction in rate, which is probably similar to what we'll see now. And you had 11.25 million more qualified buyers. Many of them entered the housing market as competition. And that is exactly why housing actually performs really well through recessions. If we look back, going back to 1960, you'll see that housing has gone sideways to actually up, meaning that prices have appreciated throughout recessions. What's the clear outlier there? The Great Recession. We can go into why that is. But in most recessionary markets, because housing becomes more affordable, because millions of people more qualify for home ownership, housing market actually does very well, especially when compared to stocks that usually get crushed during recessions. And just one last slide I'll show, because this is all I want to bring you up to speed for what I'm seeing, but more importantly, I want you to take this content and leverage it in the way that I'm going to show you. Alex Hormozy calls his core four to his leads, how to generate leads through his core four process. But I want to give you content for your conversations and content for your marketing. So this is housing. This is the Case-Shiller home price index going back 82 years. And what we have here is the year, the corresponding average interest rate for that year, and then the appreciation. 1955 was 0, so there's no color there. 1990, 1991 was depreciation, so housing market was down 1%. But basically what this will show you is regardless of interest rates, like take a look at 1966 through, well, 2001, you were essentially in the 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 16, 13, 10, 12% interest rate range. And yet you still had consistent appreciation. And in fact, if you run the numbers, home prices go up 90% of the time. We should not be afraid of the recession that's coming. We should be looking at it as an opportunity because it's going to make housing more affordable. All right, I'm going to pause there for a minute. I'd just like some feedback from you, Dave, and then we can talk about why I think this information is so important.
All right. So first of all, little reaction. What'd you guys think? We just went through the first quarter. This was a game. Josh is winning the first quarter. I thought it was awesome. The one thing I want to call out, because this theme of today's call is how low interest rates helps you with purchase business and with refi. So I just want to call out, make sure you're tailoring this. When you're presenting economic data to realtors, they don't care about you doing rate and term refis. Like that's not a value prop for them. And I think, we're pretty excited about all the rate and team refis. They care about purchases. So just make sure that when you're tailoring some of this data, you're talking to agents, you're tailoring around how like, this means move up buyers. This means X new first time home buyers are in the market. This means people that, and by the way, I just found out in one of my interviews yesterday that 5.7% of households with a mortgage are under distress. Distressed being defined as late on an auto loan, credit card loan, mortgage loan, or student loan. By the way, if 5.7 people with a mortgage are in distress, that's a 2.5 to 2.8 million households. So by the way, that's relief for those people. They may want to sell their home. They may want to take all their equity out of it and relieve the distress and now go buy. In some cases, they could buy a better home. They can move up, call it the cash out move up. So I just want you guys to recognize, like, I want this to help you win purchase business with lower rates. And I want you to win, obviously, rate and term refis. So Josh.
So there's a really easy way to take these slides and to frame them to those prospective audiences that you mentioned. In other words, if I was doing a webinar with my past clients, it'd be a very different framing than if I was doing a webinar with realtors. But if you want to get the framing right and you want to know how to teach the same content, but to different audiences with different impact, just go back to the framing from Donald Miller. He wrote a book, Building a Story Brand. What's the name of his marketing book, Dave? Marketing Made Simple.
Marketing means, well, yeah, be the hero.
Marketing Made Simple.
Or be the guide. Make them the hero.
That's right. Be the guide. But he has this simple influence and authority framework that I always think about. So when you say, remember, you would teach this different to realtors than to people doing rate and term refis. In my mind, I would just simply say to myself, what is the number one problem or fear that realtors are facing right now? It has to be around this NAR settlement and the compensation disruption, as I'm calling it. Okay, so we frame it as this. Look, we all know that there are issues in this industry that are going to be headwinds. And we're going to talk about how that we build your value proposition so that you're more valuable than ever to buyers. So that a buyer, when they're done with your presentation, they couldn't even think of approaching this challenging housing market without your help and my help. But before we get to that problem, which I've spent a lot of time thinking about, and I have some things to offer, I want to give you some good news. I want to share with you a little bit about the economic picture and why I believe there's a tsunami of buyers that are headed your way over the next year. And so as we work through this NAR settlement and the buyer agent compensation disruption issue, I want you to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let me show you a little bit about what's going on in the mortgage and economic world, right? So I would frame my presentation somehow related to the biggest problem they're having, and that what I have is going to help them overcome that problem. Then I might run through that economic numbers that I just talked about, and how that's going to bring more buyers into the market, and how recessions are actually good for real estate values, not bad. And then I would say, okay, now we just got to catch all these buyers that are going to be coming into the market. So how do we work on your buyer presentation? And then you could kind of go down that route. But whenever you're thinking about how do I get somebody's attention, how do I tailor it for them, stop thinking about yourself, start thinking about your prospects' problems, talk about their problems, show empathy, show authority on how you can overcome their problems, and then give them a clear call to action on how to move forward with you to learn more. So I just wanted to share that framework. That's how I would bifurcate teaching it to a past client database or teaching it to a realtor database.
Yeah. And before we go on, I just, yesterday, I interviewed America's #1 buyer's agent. His name is Ken DeLeon. He's in the Silicon Valley market. His team or organization has done over $1 billion in real estate so far this year. And multiple times throughout that conversation, and it is in our YouTube channel, I just put a link to it. He just talked about, like, find a problem that people are having, find a need that people are having, and then solve that need and solve that problem. So can't recommend enough. Everybody should watch this. I mean, guys, the #1 buyer's agent in America. What, in my opinion, one of the most creative real estate entrepreneurs I've ever spoken to. I've interviewed him multiple times. I first saw Ken on stage at the Mastermind event back, I think it was pre-meltdown. It might have been 2005. And then I've interviewed him a few times. But guys, check out this interview. It's incredible. By any chance, did you get any takeaways from that conversation I had with Ken yesterday?
I'm halfway through it. You sent it to me this morning while I was on the treadmill, and I was listening on 2x speed, and I had to slow down to 1x speed because Ken is already a fast talker and he's brilliant. You don't want to watch that one on 2x. But one thing that Ken said was that he believes that many buyers agents were overpaid for 30 days of representation. Like the days of somebody writing up a purchase agreement after a client's already found a property on Zillow, and them navigating a 30-day transaction and getting paid 2.5%. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's like, yeah, that's probably over. And what I took away from what I learned from him so far is that he's creating 30 years of value for that family that he's serving. He didn't say that. Those are my words, not his, but it's a lifelong, what did he call it? The Daily On Club?
Yeah, it's like getting well, his name's Ken DeLeon. So it's
Yeah.
like the Ken DeLeon Club.
Yeah, like once we've served your family, we serve your family with your real estate, construction, renovation, permitting needs forever. That he has this kind of family home office type setup, and that the way he's going to justify his value or his representation fees is it's not a 30 days worth of value. It's 30 years worth of value that we provide you. And I think he's spot on. And I think he's spot on. And he said, look, I think most buyers agents are overpaid for the value that they give. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what I heard. And I think the best buyers agents, their compensation might actually go up because they're going to double down on the value that they provide while everybody else kind of gets suffocated, and those buyers agents who can't provide that value leave the industry.
Yeah, no, he did that. At the end, he walked us through what it's like to go to a Ken DeLeon open house, and it was next level. And he aligned that open houses are going to become a much bigger opportunity for both mortgage professionals and loan officers. When I asked him how should a loan officer best serve a realtor in this market, you got exactly what he thought they should do. When I asked him, hey, if someone was getting into this space new, guys, the answer he gave was not only incredibly valuable for someone getting into the space new, it's incredibly valuable to every single person, regardless of your success level. Go check it out. The link will be down below in YouTube, and I've already put a link in chat for everyone. Gosh, how many people we got? 95 people we got watching us live on Zoom. All right, Josh, so we're almost at halfway point. What's next?
Let me just give a quick coaching moment if I can. I'm going to give you an action item. So stop digesting the content and let's pivot into action. Watch that here's my advice. Watch the Ken DeLeon video. Write down your 5, 7, 10 biggest takeaways and send that out to your best referral partners. Like, this guy has got the world by its ass. Like, he is just embracing these changes. The obstacle is the way mentality. And just to bring that energy and optimism to your buyer's agents would be a huge up-leveling. But if you can also net out for them kind of a few of your big takeaways, and then the follow-up to that would be, I'm going to send this to you, Dave. I'd love you to watch it over the weekend. And with your permission, I'm going to follow up with you Monday or Tuesday. And I'd like to talk about my big takeaways, your big takeaways, and how we can work together to bring more value to what you do for your buyer customers. So take this from idea to action immediately. If you walk away with nothing else from this consultation, but that video and that action item, you'll be better off.
And I just, guys, what a great idea. The #1 buyer's agent in America, forwarding that to agents right now, having coaching notes, and then having a meeting. I mean, Josh, that was a huge gift. Thank you very much, brother. By the way, guys, how many people are going to do that? Either, give us a little commitment in chat right now, or give us a little thumbs up reaction. How many folks are going to take Josh up on that? So we've got lots of hearts, lots of thumbs up. We've got one yes. We got a raised hand. We got a Sherry. I will, Josh. By the way, that I feel the commitment there, Sherry or Cheryl.
Cheryl, nice job, Cheryl.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. All right, we're almost 1 minute to halftime, bro. Let's go.
All right. So the ground has thawed. We've all been trying to plant seeds in frozen ground for the last 18 to 20 months. The ground is thawing. People are going to be more receptive to refinance. They're going to be more receptive to move up. So how do we create leads, opportunities for us to have these conversations and remind people what we do? As I said, I'm reading $100 Million Leads right now by Alex Hormozi. I want to share with you one huge takeaway, which if you do this, I promise you, you're going to have more leads, more people to talk to than you know what to do with. I promise you, if you do this exercise, you will have more leads and more people to talk to than you know what to do with. So here we go. Let me jump in. And for those of you who don't know who Alex Hormozi is, I'm just going to give you like a super quick overview on who this dude is. Now, Alex looks a little different. He kind of has that like meathead kind of persona going. And I struggled with his video messages for a while because I kind of got stuck on the exterior Alex. When I started listening to this dude, my mindset quickly changed because he's brilliant. Alex Hormozi reached a personal net worth of $100 million by age 32. His main company is acquisition.com. They get over 20,000 leads a day, and they sell everything from a dollar item to $1 million plus items. He has a lifetime average return on advertising to 36 to 1. So that means for every $1 he spent on advertising, he gets back $36, a 3,600% return. He sold 66% of his supplement gym licensing business to American Pacific Group at 46 million. Blah, 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 blah. Alex is a absolute badass. And he's brilliant. And then he has this like cool kind of like gym guy persona on the outside. So I just want to walk through one exercise.
Time out.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. So Josh is a master communicator. He's a master leader. And I want people to make note of he's teaching a class, but how he frames things matters. And so just as you show up for agents, telling not too much of a story around Ken DeLeon, but enough of a story to where when you forward it, it has attention. And right now, before he shows us a concept that he thinks is really important for us all to know, like he framed it. And now I'm like, I already know Alex, so I'm already like game on. But if you didn't, how you frame things matters. Josh and I both learned that from Renee Rodriguez in going through the Amplify program. Like we learned it, like we had to practice it. But I just want to remind the audience how important that is. Anyways, dude, you framed it. Share it.
The frame matters. Yeah. So first of all, Alex Hermosi, he defines a lead as any human who could potentially utilize your service. So if you think of leads in that perspective, wow, there's a lot of people out there that could use our service to either refinance, buy a home, or get some good financial education and guidance from us. And he has this exercise. Now, remember, this guy's companies, acquisition.com is his main lead generation company. They generate 20,000 leads a day. So this guy knows something about lead generation. And one of his core tenets that he teaches inside of this $100 million leads book is called the Core Four. And this is just a thought-provoking exercise. Who do I reach out to? Now that I know rates are going down, the ground is thawing, where do I start? What do I do? Okay, so Alex recommends that you go through this process. First of all, you just simply take a piece of paper or a couple pieces of paper and draw out your core four. These are just 4 different quadrants. Above the fold here are one-on-one private. So this would be a email communication, a video text, a Zoom meeting, a sit down, but it is one-on-one. And there's 2 types of one-on-one private meetings you can have. You can have warm outreach to people that know you, like you, trust you, have some sort of form of relationship with you, or cold outreach. This would be somebody who doesn't know you, like you, trust you. So for example, let's say that you had a good relationship with a realtor, and that realtor said, and you gave that presentation that I opened with to the realtor, and you asked a question at the end. By the way, there's probably a lot of opportunity for us to start having move up buying conversations, refinance conversations, different conversations with your past customers to help put them in a better financial situation to either buy now or buy later. Would you be open to me having some conversations with those past customers? Well, if they said yes, that would be you doing a one-on-one cold outreach to those past customers. So above the line here is your one-to-one private conversations to either warm outreach or cold outreach. Below the line here is your one-to-many public type outreach. Again, you're trying to mobilize leads to raise their hand and say they're interested, but this is giving you a framework to start thinking about, well, what should I do to get people to raise their hands? This is just the thought exercise. All right, so you can, your one-to-many public type outreach can be to your people that you know. This can be your past customers. These are people that you're friends with on social media. This can be people that know you, like you, trust you from high school, college, your different jobs you've been at. Anybody who knows you, you can start creating this type of content and put that out there and get people to raise their hand. And then the last type of the core four, the last quadrant, is running paid ads. And one of the things that Alex talks about is you should always start here. You should always start with warm outreach to people that you know. Then you should start to warm outreach to people you don't know. From there, once you start to find out what's working and resonating, you should start posting free content to people who know you, like you, trust you. And then the very last thing you should do is spend money running paid ads. So let me give you a couple of examples of how this might play out, how you might take this playbook and put it to work for you. If you go through the number of contacts, remember, a lead is a human who might have a need for your service or advice. So everybody you have in your phone, that's a lead. Everybody that's a friend with you on Facebook, that's a lead. Everybody who follows you on Instagram, that's a lead. Everybody who follows you on Twitter, that's a lead. Everybody who you know on LinkedIn, that's a lead. So Alex says when he was starting his gym business, he would make 100 warm outreaches one-on-one per day. And he did that for several years. Then he asked those people who raised their hand, and he didn't just come out and say, hey, mortgage rates are down. Do you want a mortgage? He had a whole framework around this, right? Create the warm communication, ask how they're doing, compliment them on something that you see they're doing on this social media platform, ask them if they're aware of what's going on. This is a great question from Phil Jones. What do you know about what's happening with mortgage interest rates in the real estate market? Right? Just once you engage them, compliment them, ask them a question that has something to do with your core service and see if they engage and they're interested. He did 100 of these a day: text, Facebook, Instagram, phone calls, 100 a day. I promise you, if you do 100 a day, you're going to have more leads than you can possibly imagine. And then I'm going to give you what's called a strike rate tool to help you aggregate these potential leads and take action on them. All right, then you can say, okay, cool, Dave, thank you. You're interested. Is there anybody else you know who might be interested in learning more about what's going on with mortgage rates, the economy, and might need to restructure their mortgage or be interested in buying a house? Cool. Now you've got some people to do cold outreach to. Once you start to see what's working, then you start posting your free content online. If you already know what's working and what's going to resonate, great. Start posting that free content online. You can also start posting your success stories. Once you start helping these people, once you find out how to save them money or get them to move up, now you start posting it online. But let me just bring this to a close and I'll turn it over to you, Dave. I'll give you the link to this video. So there's a 12-minute descriptive video of these. But the point is, the ground is thawing and we have to be on the offensive. We have to be taking this message of what's changing in our industry and having both one-on-one conversations and one-to-many conversations to get people to raise their hands and say, I want to learn more, or you may be able to help me. All right, Dave, I'm going to turn it back over to you for a minute here, bud. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay. Gotcha.
So what I want to do now is I want to make sure that people know, hey, strike rate. I do want to remind anyone who has the full Trust Engine platform, like Josh's team, and the Trust Engine app, which I'll show in a few minutes. Like, we're monitoring your database, and when someone is in the money, we're letting the loan officer know, and we're driving an automated engagement with that consumer. We have this evolving integration with MortgageCoach. I want to make sure they know how to present, because I think people have gotten rusty in how to present a refi with MortgageCoach. Would you mind showing one of your TCAs, and let's just do some best practice training on how to present this? And remember, guys, you could present this one-on-one. You could present this one-to-many. I guarantee you, Denise Donahue is going to be like creating a little video on Instagram. She's going to be showing a MortgageCoach TCA and, hey, this is how you decide if it's time to refi. And this is how you could turn a refi into paying off your home faster. Like, you're going to start seeing one-to-many and one-to-one content. Anyways, show us what you got.
I'm going to share.
And yeah, Josh is going to share his slides. We'll have those. If you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link in the show notes. If you are in the Trust Engine Facebook group, we'll also have these in files. So all this will be available to you. And we'll have a link to this 12-minute video on Alex Hormozy's Core 4. It's a great, quick watch. And any marketer needs to know this stuff, needs to live this stuff.
Yes. And John Fortner, great question. What does the T signify? And Josh took a swing at that. So let me just clarify this. Your warm outreach to people you know, that's one-on-one, is low cost, probably zero cost, except maybe your cell phone bill, and high time. So this isn't a leveraged activity, but with people without a lot of money in their reserves and to spend on marketing, this is where you should start. It's where Alex started. Contacted 100 people a day for multiple years doing this, and voila, 32, he's worth $100 million. All right, cold outreach, same thing, high time, low money, but a little harder because you got to get this list of people through a realtor or what have you. All right, the one-to-many, post-free content, low money again if you're doing it on social, but high time because you got to create that TCA, you got to create those types of things, and then running paid ads. Interestingly enough, he has high money and high time. That's probably because you're checking analytics and all those types of things. But this is just kind of an equation to help you think through how, and back to your point, Dave, once you have a piece of content that resonates, don't just do it one-on-one. Figure out, how can I do it one-on-one to people I know? How can I do it one-on-one to people I don't know? Like, for example, this could be you going into a realtor office and presenting to a group of realtors that you don't know, but it's the same content that resonates. Then you can post it online. And then the last thing you should do is run paid ads with it. Okay, I'm done with that. I just wanted to kind of put a button on that, and I appreciate the questions that everybody had. All right, let's get out of here.
Keep them coming, guys.
Let's roll to the TCA. All right. So now you've had one-on-one conversations to your warm list, people that know you, like you, trust you. Somebody has said, you know, I'm considering refinancing, not sure if it's the right time. Let's look at some options, okay? So let me get into the back end of this presentation just real quickly. Sorry, I had the other one pulled up. All right, cool. So here's a situation that many people may be looking at right now. You've got a client that has a 7.5% or a lead, doesn't have to be your client, who has a 7.5% interest rate. They're not interested in paying points, and you can only save them about a half a point in rate. Well, that's $162 a month. But you know what? When your payment's $3,300 a month, it's not a huge needle mover. So a lot of people might just say, okay, it doesn't work right now. I'll just keep watching the market and let you know when rates continue to go down. The problem with that strategy is every servicer in the country and every refi shop telemarketer is employing the same strategy, and you don't have as many hours as all of those servicers and marketers have. So they're probably gonna get to that refinance before you do. So let's go with a couple other potential strategies here. So if I simply add what I call the 30-year savings reinvested, this is column number 3. This is taking that $162 a month, putting it back into paying down the mortgage. I call that reinvested in paying down the principal of the mortgage. But there's two other ways that you can pay down that mortgage. First of all, if we start today, Dave, we'll close your loan in the first week of September. That means you'll make no payment in September, and you're going to make no payment in October. Your current monthly payment is $3,300 a month. So you're going to save $6,600, plus you are going to get about a $2,000 or $1,900 escrow refund. So you've got this chunk of about $8,500 in cash that we're going to show being paid down towards your mortgage. Plus, you're going to pay the $162 a month that you're savings, and we're going to put that down towards the mortgage. All right. Well, what does that do? Well, that's going to increase your savings over the first 5 years from $4,000 to $9,355. And it's going to increase your net worth, because if we just do your refi and you go ahead and spend that $162 a month and you pocket the $8,600 in savings, your equity in the home is actually going to go down over 5, 10, 15 years. But if you reinvest that savings to pay down your principal, your equity is going to go up by about $69,000 over that period of time. And then you can kind of, you can just click into the principal reduction. You can show them that they're going to make their normal their normal payment. I just have this set up where they're going to make their normal payment month one. Then they're going to get their escrow refund, and I figure in month two. So they're going to make the $6,600 payment from their normal mortgage payment, plus the $6,600 they saved in skipping 2 mortgage payments, plus the $1,900 they got from their escrow refund. That's all being applied to principal in month 2. And then they continue making this additional payment, which is the new principal and interest payment plus the 162 they're saving. So that would be a way to really say, look, saving 0.5% per month is not just 162 payments. I can show you $162 a month. I can show you how it'll save you almost $10,000 over the next 60 months. And I can show you how it'll make you an extra $69,000 in additional wealth over the next 15 years. Dave, anything you want to add there?
So guys, this is how it's done. I mean, look at he's showing a simple refi, and then he's showing the entire tangible benefits, showing how to take it from 29.1 to 23 years. Guys, this is what this, if you can't do this at a high level, you're not a client for life loan officer. If about 25% to 33% of your pipeline is not refis, not just rate and term refis, but cash out refis, you're not a client for life loan officer. Like you're starting to see the loan officers that are killing it with purchase, who are also able to deliver presentations like this. And also you can do this at scale. You could create these analysis for clients at night and forward it to 10 clients. It's not like you need to talk to every single person. Hey, rates have come down. I put this together for you. These can all be created in 3 to 5 minutes. So, this could just be little sniper missiles. I haven't interviewed Jeremy Forcier on this yet, but I guarantee all the top mortgage coaches in the country, they're either shooting these and they're getting rate and term refis, or they're positioning them for a strike price. Josh, before I show the Trust Engine app, which everyone at Neo has, is there anything else you want to share? And I just want to do a little 1-minute demo of it.
Yeah. Can I finish this TCA? And I just want to show everybody how I did that, because it might be a little confusing. So if you just go into your TCA after you build it, and then go into your adjust reinvestment strategy, and then I just go over to the 30-year savings reinvested, I just go down here. You'll see there's a little pencil here. Well, I've already filled in the information here. So now it says custom, but I just clicked on the little pencil. And then I said, all right, in month 1, they're going to pay $162 a month towards additional principal, because that's how much they're saving with my refinance. In month 2, they're going to have saved 2 months worth of mortgage payments plus receive their escrow payment. So they're going to make plus they've saved $162 a month. So if I add those 3 things up, they're going to make a principal reduction in month 2 of $85.89. And then starting in month 3, they're going to go back to making that $162.74 in additional principal payment. And the net result on this, guys, like here's the big, huge takeaway, is you just went from 29 years on your current trajectory to a 23.83 year payoff. And there's not one more dollar out of your pocketbook. You either would have continued making payments at 3301, or we're going to restructure your indebtedness. You're going to reinvest the 2 months missed payments. You're going to keep making 3301, and you pay the loan off in less than 24 years. I just saved 5 years off your mortgage. This is a complete and utter no-brainer. How would you not move forward with that? And Dave, let me just so I can finish this TCA, if you don't mind, I just want to show the last thing before we go to the Trust Engine piece. And guys, for those of you who don't know how I'm doing this, as you go into your TCA presentation, you can start by just showing the first 2 columns or the first 1 column. And then I just I kind of reveal the next set of information so people aren't completely overloaded when we're presenting these on Zoom. So boom, now I pull up the 4th strategy, which is 30-year retirement investment. And I say, okay, let's take the same strategy. You've got about $8,600 in capital that we're going to free up. Let's say that we stick that into an investment account, plus you invest the $162 a month that your savings in payment. So you've got a lump sum to start your investment, $162 a month. you're going to save $4,000 over the next 60 months. But more importantly, you're going to be $100,000, $103,000 more wealthy by the same number of dollars leaving your bank account, not one extra dime leaving your bank account. And the way that's going to happen is you're going to have home appreciation at 4%. You're going to pay down your mortgage over the next 15 years, but you're also, that $162 a month is going to grow to $108,000 in an investment account. So look, this didn't look that appealing. It only saves them $162 a month, and over 5 years, they only save $4,000. You show me how to get $100,000 more wealthy, or you show me how to pay off my loan 5 years earlier, all of a sudden this starts to be really freaking appealing. Take it away, Dave.
So guys, we're going to make a little piece of micro content from that. It's going to be called Refis Made Easier and Better Than Ever with Josh Mettle. We will have that in the YouTube channel within a few days, so that, I mean, this whole class has been a masterclass. Like, you know, we're now at like 52 minutes of masterclass, but we will make sure that just teaching you how to do refis made easier and better than ever, you'll have that as a piece of micro content. So stay tuned on that. Also, again, the promise here, guys, is how to turn low interest rates into an opportunity to win refis and win purchases. So, I mean, guys, the purchase is pretty straightforward. The lower the rates, the more people have affordability. And then there's countless mortgage coach TCAs that you should know how to do. You should know how to do a buyer agent commission options. I'm not even going to do one of those because I've done so many interviews. We've got a whole playlist around how to get ahead of the NAR settlement. And then this is a great opportunity to show your agents that, you know what, I'm a data-driven mortgage advisor, and your database is more valuable by having me manage it than you manage it. Now, again, if you are a full trust engine partner like Neo, for all the loan officers that aren't, let your management team know that, hey, hopefully you have Mortgage Coach. And if you don't, tell your management you need it built into your LOS, your CRM, your pricing engine, your POS. But this is our new app. So we're monitoring your entire database for eligibility and propensity. And obviously, for people, the lower the rate goes, it will increase the propensity score. So for all the people that have Trust Engine and Sales Boomerang, make sure you talk to your rep and make sure you have the strike rate where you want it. But guys, boom, rate and term eligible. Clicks on that. Email, text, call, advice, scripts, exactly what to say, exactly what to text, cut, paste, boom. You know, never been easier to take action on data. Evolving integration with Mortgage Coach. The Trust Engine platform has already started a digital engagement with the consumer. If the consumer has started to react, the loan officer knows that. All the data you need to have a super efficient and effective conversation with the consumer, it's all right here. And then on this app, we're also predicting purchases. So again, another opportunity to let your agents know, like, I'm on it. I'm delivering better advice, price with advice, and I am turning data into loans and into homes sold. Josh, I know you guys have that app. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, you know, if I just think from the construct of $100 million leads, Alex Hormozy is always thinking about, how do I get more leads? How do I generate more leads? How do I generate more leads? These are the best, warmest leads you can have, because you already have data on them. You've already served them. You already have the inside track. You just have to prioritize those. That would be the first leads that I'd be going after each day. Then I would be going after, all right, who in my Facebook, who in my Instagram, who in my LinkedIn can I start having conversations with? And then I go comment on their page and give them a compliment. And then when they go to my page, I'm showing examples of TCAs and how I'm saving people money. In 5 minutes, I want to bring this home by showing a similar strategy for purchases. Is that okay, Dave?
Go for it.
All right, here we go.
Guys, we're going to go 5 minutes over because I want to make sure we close this out right.
Cool.
So little time check for anyone on the call.
Right on. Okay. So we went through the different ways to make a refinance by only saving 0.5% in rate way more valuable to the customer based on your advice, not the price. Now, let's say you're out there using your core four, you're reaching out to leads, you're having conversations. By the way, this would be a great thing to show a group of realtors. And you say, okay, look, here's the situation that many customers are in. They're in a $550,000 home, or many leads are in, many families are in. Their dream home is $750,000. They're at a 3.25% rate. They're paying $22.45 a month. They run the numbers based on mortgage rates today with no points or whatever, and their payment goes up by $2,430 per month. It more than doubles. Conversation over. We're good. We'll just hang here in this house for a little bit longer. Okay, cool. So let's engage that client in a conversation. What is the payment that would be acceptable to you? What is the rate that I need to be tracking for you? Because I'm going to leave you with a rate tracker, a strike rate tracker capture tool. And we want to be having these conversations early because we know rates are going to go down. So let's decide what is the payment or interest rate that would mobilize this person from a lead to an actual prospect going into the house hunting. So let's put together the scenario at 6.99, which is probably game over. And then let's put it together at 6.49. All right, well, at 6.49, your payment only goes up $22.30. How does that work for you? That doesn't really work for me. Okay. All right. So let's look at it at 5.99. What could it look like at 5.99? Now the payment's $42.80. Would that be something that you could handle? No, it's still too much. Okay, cool. Well, I've given you some guidance. I've given you some information. I've probably impressed this family on how we can help them run numbers. Maybe one other option we should just take a look at, because I've already showed you what's going on with the economy. I've already showed you how mortgage rates go down in times of economic recession and why I believe the recession is upon us. So perhaps we should just look at another strategy called the 3-2-1 buy down. You know, one of the benefits of rates having peaked a month ago is that there's a little more inventory on the market, and sellers are a little more willing to give a concession that we can use towards a buy down. What about if we were able to put you in your dream home and the payment only went up $1,300 a month? And by the way, you've got about $200,000 in equity here after real estate commissions. Maybe it's 175. We've only got cash to close at about 157. So perhaps if we had a little bit of capital to pay off some other debts and we put you into a 3-2-1 buy down, you could actually get into this dream home now at a payment that you could live with. And then as rates continue to go down, which we've shown you they do during times of recession, we'll look to restructure that indebtedness when rates get more agreeable. Is that something that you'd be interested in looking at? It's just another way. And ultimately, team, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to mobilize leads, people who might need our services. We're trying to figure out, do I take this one-to-one, one-to-many? How do I take this information out to get people to raise their hand? And then how do we get them to agree on a strike rate? And this is the last thing I'm gonna share, and then I'll turn it over to you, Dave. And we've just created a really simple strike rate tracker, because what we don't want to do is wait for rates to hit 5.9% and then start having conversations with people, or 6.5% and then start having conversations. As we're having these conversations, I've just created this simple tracker. You just put their client's name, their interest rate if they're currently in a home, and conversation notes that says, look, at 6.5, all these people are ready to move forward. At 6.6, all these people are ready to move forward. The problem that I see originators having right now is they're having conversations where they say, hey, Dave, I'm watching the market, and when rates go down, I'll contact you. That is not a commitment. Your goal is to get a commitment that somebody's ready to move up, or somebody is ready to refinance at a specific rate. And once we hit that rate, the decision's already been made. The value of them taking that next action has been decided on. And I will contact you as soon as we're within 0.1% of hitting that rate, as long as I have your confirmation and commitment that you're a go when we get there. So that's the goal. Reach out to these leads, figure out the rate or the payment that works for them, get them in your tracker system. So as rates continue to go down, you have a pipeline of loans that you can pull off as rates go down.
Josh, someone just asked, are you putting generic examples of the TCA in your LinkedIn post or, any social media post?
I'd create it as like a case study. And whether it's a real client or not a real client, you could call it a case study. You could message it one-to-one to people. If you get people that raise their hand and say, yeah, I might be interested in learning that. No, I don't know what's going on in the mortgage and interest rate world. Tell me what's happening, right? So you could message it that way. You should also be doing those posts on your social media. And then you should be going to those people that you want their attention, to their pages, like what they're doing, comment on what they're doing. Show them some attention. They're likely to come back to your page and then see your case studies that you've put on your page.
So, and guys, there's lots of examples. You should absolutely be doing that. Usually the TCA goes in comments. So you'll make a post and then, check out a sample.
Yeah.
Dan Keller does a great job of this. Denise Donahue does a great job of this. So Josh, you killed it. There will be at least 2 pieces of what I just call sales clips, sales training clips that come from this. How Josh did the refi, and I'm going to call it refis easier and better than ever. And then I think I'm going to call the other one move up decisions easier than ever. I don't know.
I like
That's
it.
kind of what I like. He's really helping make a refi decision easier than ever. So stay tuned on those. So Josh, if people want to learn more about the Loan Atlas or they want to follow you on social, what are the best places to follow you? What is the best way to lean in to the Loan Atlas?
Yeah, well, we're going to do a free webinar in the end of September. I believe it's September 27th. We're going to be back on Mortgage Coach, Dave, teaching what we call the empowering buyer agents through chaos. This is really a presentation. We're going to come back to Mortgage Coach. I can't remember the exact date. Maybe Paul, you could confirm that. It might be August 22nd or August 22nd, I think it might be. But we're going to be helping you as originators work hand in hand with your buyer's agents to increase their value proposition. And that's what I'm most excited to bring back to this community. So maybe we could promote that future event that we're going to be back to. That's going to be a free event that we do here. And then we're going to be running a 6-week. What's that?
I said, you can
August
count
27th.
on that.
Right on. Thank you. And then we're going to be running a 6-week boot camp. So if that presentation, that consultation, that the buyer's agent consultation that we teach on August 27th, if that resonates with you, the Loan Atlas is going to be putting on a 6-week boot camp to really help you understand marketing philosophy, scripts, and have a consultation deck that you can co-present with your buyer's agents to help them establish their value and get buyers to feel comfortable signing a buyer representation agreement, because now that buyer might be on the hook for the compensation. So more to come there. You can always just email me at josh@joshmettle.com. I'm happy to help you there as well.
Yeah, and you could go to theloanatlas.com. It really is an extraordinary group of transformational leaders in the mortgage industry that are all advisors. They're all data-driven. They're all modern, and they are, again, elevating the industry. So check it out. Follow Josh on all social media. Mr. Mettle, you knocked it out of the park, bro. Any last thoughts before we close it out?
The genius is in the execution. Pick one thing you learned here today and put it into action as soon as humanly possible.
And if you can run that OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act, like we gave you some gold today. The question is, to Josh's point, how fast are you going to execute this? And remember, we are running a constant OODA loop right now. Like, we have some thoughts of how this NAR settlement's going to play out. We have some opinions and some instincts with how interest rates are going to open up opportunity. But the faster as you can run that OODA loop, the faster you're going to win and kill it. So this is a wrap. If you got value, give it a like, share it with your mortgage friends. If you have not already subscribed to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe today so that every time we put new content in, you get an alert. Also, at savageinsights.com, I'm always updating that literally every day. Whatever the most valuable piece of content will be at the top. This will be at the top later today. And what's coming next is at the top. Plus, if you want to sign up for the mobile club, it's a free mobile club where I send out alerts a couple times a week as to what I think is most important to mortgage professionals to win in the marketplace. Like, for example, this morning, I told everybody about that interview with the #1 buyer agent. Check it out. So you can sign up for that at Savage Insights. Josh, appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, everybody.
Knuckles.
Pleasure being with you here today.
All right. Take
We'll
care,
get after
everybody.
it. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.